Electronic drum sets are interesting. Some people love them, some people hate them. We chose to go with an electronic kit for a few reasons, and I'm going to get to those in this video. But first, I want you to leave a comment down below what you think about electronic drum sets. Do you like them or do you hate them? I'm going to tear this kit down. It's already torn down, but this is day 2, so you're going to see me in a different outfit from yesterday tearing it down because we had an event today. I'm rebuilding it, plugging it back in, talking about all the reasons why we went for an electronic drum set. But first, here's a couple sound samples, the isolated sounds from our mixer, and then some sounds blended with some tracks. So we are currently running a Roland VAD-507 shell pack. I forget the exact model, but I debated on either this or the flagship model. I think the 706 is the flagship. This might be the 507. This one had all the same features minus the TD50 brain. The only actual difference was that the kick drum was 2 inches smaller, a 20 instead of a 22. And one of the cymbals, I believe, is a smaller cymbal, but it's the same USB snare, USB ride, USB hat. So we currently are running a TD27 brain, even though we did upgrade to a TD50 at first, the TD50X. But what we wanted to do was run our drum audio through DANTE. And currently, as far as I'm aware, V-drums don't have the capability of running digital audio network through Ethernet. So we ended up selling that brain to fund a laptop, just a Macbook Air, and then we used the TD27 brain that came with it, and we're just using it as a MIDI controller now. I'm not super stoked on that because I feel like there is a little bit that we're missing out of using the Roland sounds, but the TD27 brain is running into a MacBook Air running EZDrummer, and we are able to run up to 16 outputs through EZDrummer through DANTE, because it's just one USB-C Ethernet port into that MacBook, so we can easily get kick, snare, tom. Well, it's interesting. EZDrummer doesn't allow you to route audio in the way that you'd expect as a drummer. It lets you run stereo groups out. Superior Drummer, the step up, will let you isolate things more, but EZDrummer lets you do stereo groups. So I have kick and snare in the stereo group, but I have kick panned all the way to the left and snare panned all the way to the right. So they are effectively on separate channels. And then I have the rack tom, the second tom, which we use as a first floor, and then our floor tom. I have the rack tom panned to the left, and I have our 2 floor toms panned to the right, so I essentially have a rack and then a floor channel with 2s on it. So it's not super ideal in the low end, but it works better than doing it the other way around, because I can pan the direction of the drums in the stereo field according to where they are on the kit. Instead of having EQ control, I have space and width control, so I like that. Then I have kick, snare, tom, then I have a hat channel and a ride channel. I have them up a stereo group, same thing, panned left and right. And then I have an overheads channel, which is the entire, like a left and right overhead. So you get the crash cymbals, you get the whole picture of the kit like you'd have a set of overhead mics. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. So we're using EZDrummer on a laptop, and then we are just panning stuff to make it as individual output as possible. And then we're doing a bunch of processing at our console, which is a Behringer Wing. But the use case that we have for this using DANTE, I feel like, is not an unusual use case for running a silent stage. The less cables you have to run, the better. Even though it's a permanent installation, it's nice to not have to fill up an entire stage box with 8 XLRs just to get 8 outputs out of the TD50X brain. It's one Ethernet cable and one power cable, and that gets us the whole kit and caboodle. So actually, I'm going to leave this plugged in, but I am going to start digging down in these cables and start pulling some stuff up. Our stage pocket is just right here, so it's not a far run, but there's only 6 XLRs, and then there's 2 returns. So I could run turnarounds and make it work, but we also run bass through here, and we run in-ears through there, but we also run in-ears through Dante as well. We have the Universal Audio E2M headphone amps, the Dante headphone amps, which are super cool. They also have a stereo line input, so you could essentially run a backup left and right feed from the TD27 into that Universal Audio E2M and have a backup stereo mix of your drums from the brain itself. So you'd have to find some samples you like in the brain, but you'd at least have drums if a computer went out, and that's a very good reminder for me to actually do that. So I should probably do that. But as I tear these down, we're clearing the stage for an event this weekend. I'm gonna have to do a whole lot of tearing down, aren't I? Yes, I am. I'm doing all my cable management because the TD27 doesn't have individual outputs. It has a snake. So the nice thing about the TD50 was that it had individual outputs, so I could just unplug from the brain and leave all my cables managed on the stand. But this time I will have to work backwards and remove most of my cable management, which honestly that kind of stinks. I'm not super excited about that, but it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. It's just a few more steps. We don't have to clear the stage very often, so I don't mind cable managing this heavy. That's isolated on its own stand now. Yep, cool. So I don't mind cable managing this heavy to make it look clean. But if I had to do this every weekend for events going on, I would probably do something else. Yeah, this would be a nightmare to do every week, to recable this, and I'd probably have the snake go bad from all the moving around that it would be doing. Let's get this out of the way. But what I am going to do is leave all my stands in place. I'm not going to adjust any of the stands positioning or heights. I'm not going to tear it down. I'm just going to stick it backstage. It's going to be fine. All right, kick drum, get the big thing out of the way, right? But I'm not going to adjust any of the cable wraps I did. They're just going to live as is. I even have a secret cable wrap down here. I didn't know it was here. The kit itself, so especially the kick drum, the thing that like bugs me about electronic kits is the wear of the pads. And the thing that I hear a lot about, because we are 30 minutes south of Nashville, Broadway on Nashville for a while was using the Roland electronic kits in basically all of their stages downtown, all the main stages that were playing full bands, because they wanted silent stages to have better mixes. Pros and cons, right? We are dealing with those pros and cons too. We wanted a silent stage because our closest congregation member to the drums is 12 feet. I mean, you can see the chair. Like they're 12 feet, if that. So we wanted to make sure we weren't blasting our congregation members with sound, knowing that they are right next to the drums. We did one Sunday with an acoustic drum kit. Normally on a Sunday, our mix runs about 92 dB in this room, but the drums by themselves that Sunday were 93 or 94 dB. And that was at front of house. So I can't imagine 12 feet away just how loud the drums were, 100 plus dB. And the guy that was playing that week was actually like being very moderate and had lower tuned drums and had drier cymbals, had thinner sticks, was playing pretty light. He was accommodating the room, but there's only so much you can do without resorting to like nylon brushes, not like jazz brushes, but like those like nylon hot rod style brushes. There's only so much you can do with an acoustic kit to mitigate volume without completely altering the tone of the drums. And there's some compromise that we weren't willing to do with that, but we wanted to try an acoustic kit again, considering previously we had an acoustic kit, but it was in an aquarium at the back of our stage. So it was isolated. It was actually very isolated, but we moved away from that format. Sorry, I'm leaving the frame. You'll be fine. We moved away from that format when we got an LED wall backdrop, you can see some of the panels here. Oh, there it is, right there. We moved away from the format of having the acoustic drums in the middle of the stage in the back because we wanted to have an LED wall that would serve as set design and stage design and a teaching tool for full screen illustrations. But the downside is that we had to also spend money on an electronic drum kit, or we would have had to build an aquarium out here, or someone would have to be playing a cajon or a bop kit, or we'd modify the sound of the drums and they would not sound as good even if they were acoustic. There's just not sound as good. Good is subjective, right? But good relative to what we expect from a contemporary worship sound, right? We can get that sound with an electronic kit, and the compromise is in the room. You hear clickety clackety clickety clack in the especially in the quiet dynamic parts. Lots of clickety clacks, and it can get kind of annoying. Especially for the people in the first few rows that can hear it all the time. But at the end of the day, I would rather have that be the problem than people complaining that it's too loud because we have an acoustic kit that's not in a shell. And I'll tell you what, people are going to say, go to the comments, do it, go for it. Put up baffles or put up plexi. The only thing that reduces acoustic energy effectively is mass. Plexi will reduce some of the frequencies of that acoustic energy, but it will not, those high frequencies then reflect off of it back into the microphones and alter the sound of the drums. So like you're making a compromise no matter what. Baffles don't do anything. What they do, they do something, but they don't do what people want them to do. People want baffles to help with cymbal sound, but what happens is they help with cymbal sound on the stage. It directionally helps vocal mics pick up less bleed from cymbals if they're in the right spot on stage. But when you have a tiny stage like this, you're too close to it anyway. It's not gonna make a drastic difference. Between plexi, baffles, no, it's not gonna do a thing. So then you come to an electric kit instead of an acoustic kit, and you realize, oh, I hear clickety clackety and bump 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 from the kick drum pedal. I would rather have that than people complaining that drums are 102 dB and their Apple Watch is going off because they're 12 feet away from the drum kit, because the layout of our room requires the drums to be up front on the stage because we put an LED wall smack dab in the middle. The downside of putting the LED wall there is we lost about 12 feet of depth on the stage where we had the drums previously. So it's not the end of the world. We still use what we have. We extended our stage wider. So we have a similar amount of space. It's just not as deep, it's shallower. So pros and cons for sure. But let me pack these drums up, pack them away. Oh, before I pack them away, I do want to make one complaint. I brought up the Nashville Broadway scene using Roland kits, and I never got to the point of why they stopped using them. Because they did. Acoustic kits are mostly back as far as I'm aware. The wear and tear on these electronic drums is ridiculous. So if you play them all the time, we play them twice a week. Our student ministry meets in here, and then our Sunday services have 3 services. So they do 2 rehearsals, because we rehearse for Wednesday, 2 rehearsals, and essentially 4 services a week. And the only thing that's really taken a beating that I can't solve without spending more money than I want to spend is this kick drum. The sensor on the kick drum, the foam just gets beat in and destroyed and breaks down. You can all that dust. The downside to this is that you should be using the plastic side of the beater. So if you're using the plastic side of the beater, you're going to have less wear and tear on there. But as you can see, we're using the felt. The felt is noticeably quieter, like significantly quieter. That's what we do. I put an Evans EMAD on there, and it was stuck to the floor. So it did not live on there very long, to hopefully help with that a little bit, but it just didn't stick. So it's what it is. There's confetti on the floor. I got to vacuum all this. We do confetti cannons, like hand twist ones, when we do baptisms, because we will not let culture out celebrate someone dedicating their life to Jesus. It's so fun. What comes with that is confetti everywhere. I occasionally have confetti in the grills of our PA. Just like static electricity, that was loud, sorry. Static electricity just sticks it there. But there's confetti under the drums. It was hidden. I didn't know it was here. Now I have to vacuum it. So I'm going to put all these drums away, and then you will see me. Today's Friday. We have an event on Saturday. You will see me fast forward to Saturday when I'm putting this back together to talk about more drums. All right, it's the next day, which means I got to get the kit wired up, set up for church tomorrow. So let's do it. Okay, so it's done being vacuumed, and I got a roll of gaff tape. This time, I'm going to put tape spikes everywhere because we got a clean stage. So I'm going to put tape spikes everywhere where the kick drum goes, the snare stand, cymbal stands, the most important kind of 2 or 3 pieces, so that every time we have to take this away, the kit away, we at least get to put it back in the same exact spot. Because even this time, it won't be in the exact spot, but it'll be close. So I'm going to put tape spikes down as we go. So setting up the shells wasn't actually that tough. It took me about 6 minutes. And I even put some tape down on the spurs and the kick pedal so that the kick drum always has a home base to live. I thought about it. It's like, I don't think much else needs a home base per se, because there'll be a couple drummers that play regularly. It gives them an opportunity to know where the kick drum is, where the kick drum should live, and they can kind of base their setup around that specific placement. Now though, this guy, all this cable snake needs to get wired up. So I'm going to do that. POV, here's the Roland TD27 brain. We are not using this for sounds right now, just trigger modules. But like I said earlier, I do think getting a stereo output of this into here, into the stereo line ins as a backup, this E2M. That way we have drums if something goes wrong with this M1 MacBook Air. This is running 2X EZDrummer. So we are using, let's see my mouse, audio MIDI setup, DANTE virtual sound card 1 through 8. 48K, 32 samples, a TD27. So now if I go to the X on here, and I can go to the mixer, you can see that my kick in and kick out, I'm not using my kick out right now, although I probably could. It might help a little bit. But snare top, snare bottom, these are panned to hard right. The kick is to the left. Hi-hats left. Rack toms are panned left and right. Floor toms are panned right, and then the ride is right, overheads are stereo. Some of this ambient stuff is blended in a little bit through the overhead channel, but super simple. But that's how I'm utilizing essentially individual outputs for these drums. We're using the stock sounds. I am considering going for either the gospel or the country library. Let me know in the comments below if you have any thoughts on that. Well, I'm just starting to shut stuff down, and you've heard the drums, heard me talk about them, but I think the ultimate reason why we landed on an electronic kit above an acoustic kit with some sort of dampening is because we wanted consistency. On the best day, an electronic drum set may give you a total of 80%, 75% of the sound quality that you would get from an acoustic kit. But what you are afforded is consistency, where no matter the temperature, no matter the humidity, no matter the drummer, you are still getting that same sound quality. So if 100% is the goal, you are still getting somewhere between 65 to 75% of that sound quality all the time. But with an acoustic kit, so many factors, especially in the open air, especially in a place where the temperature can fluctuate, humidity in particular in Tennessee can fluctuate, especially in that kind of place, or in this kind of place where we don't have drummers who are here all the time. It was an issue before, and we just dealt with it because we liked acoustic drums, because acoustic drums are great. But you could maybe get 100% of the sound quality of an acoustic drum set 50% of the time, and the other 50% you're getting somewhere between 40 to 60. So I'd rather have consistency where I could have 65, 75, maybe 80% of the sound quality and never change. So ultimately, that's the reason I think that we landed on an acoustic versus electric. We landed on the electric drum set. So hopefully this informed you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. If you have any thoughts, leave them in the comments down below. Please click like and subscribe if you made it this far all the way to the end of the video. And I'll see you in the next one.